Today on Too Many Projects Garage, we're going to work on my 91 Civic. We're going to replace the power steering rack because it is no good. It leaks out everywhere. As soon as you put power steering fluid in the car, it just leaks out on the ground. So it does work though. But yeah, we got a new power steering rack we're going to throw in there. And then we're going to work on my 91 Civic and replace the exhaust manifold. Check it out. We've got the car lifted up. We can look under the bottom. As you can see, I think the seal failed there very badly. The other side is very dry. It's definitely this side that's the passenger side. So looks like it's pretty easy. We've got a couple of 14s, a couple 12s, not too bad. And then we have to get inside and unhook the steering column. That's probably gonna be the most annoying part, but it'll be fine. I think my engine's a little leaky. What do you guys think? I think the front main and the rear main are both extremely leaky, but I really do not want to change them out. I'm sure it's fine. We'll do an overhaul on this engine at some point, replace all the gaskets. But one issue that we do need to remedy like right now is there's very little brake pad left. And the rotor is not in perfect shape, but there's a little bit of a groove in it, and there's no lip, so the rotors are in decent shape. They probably need to be turned, but we don't have time for that. And but we do have time to change out some brake pads, so because they are necessary. So while she's working on this, I'm gonna go and see about acquiring some brake pads, and then I might pull this off eventually and have them turned because I mean they still look good. They got a lot of meat left on them. So anyways, I'm gonna go get some brake pads. All right, we've got tie rod off. This is the bad side, as you can see how nasty it is. And it is quite floppy, and yeah, if you just let go, it just, yeah, not good. And this is doesn't have any slop in it, but it is definitely just very easy to move. If you ever have changed tie rods out, you'll know that when you put them on, they're almost impossible to move by hand just because of how much grease they got in there and how tight the tolerances are. And the fact that I could easily move this with my thumb, no good. And same thing with this, no good. So, and I bet with that leaking, that probably ruined the inner tie rod because oil tends to break down the grease, or the power steering fluid would break down the grease, and then there's no grease in that joint. It doesn't have any movement to it, but it probably wouldn't be too far off before it did. Even though maybe the power steering fluid was probably lubricating it, maybe. Anyways, good riddance. Guys, we got the brakes apart, and as you can see, we've got a little bit of abnormal wear, and that would be because the slide pins on the brake calipers are not functioning. We'll take this one apart here in a moment so you can see how bad it is, but let's go look at the other side. Apparently it's just as bad. No, actually, this one's not as bad. You can tell that the brake, if you look at the thicknesses, one's slightly thicker than the other, but I'm guessing it wasn't as seized. But as you can see, look at that. No lubrication. So we definitely need to lube that up. And luckily enough, we got brake grease, so I got a whole tub of it. Yeah. All right, guys, so we've got the brake pads here. And as you can see, if I try to, like normally this should just freely swing like on this pivot because we got the bolt out here, but it is like, oh, so hard to get. And honestly, it should have stayed bolted on the car, but that's okay. So you could pry on it, but it is really on there. So we're gonna have to do a little bit of wiggling back and forth until we get that off, which should be a lot of fun, but we'll get it done. All right, we have to get the air hammer out. First use of my air hammer. This is the first one I've ever had, so. Well, actually I've had one before, but this is the first one I've used this time. See? I think it's moving slow. Ooh, that's not making a nice divot. Hey, it won't slip off at least. Oh, it is so on there. It's crazy. And we got a nice little dimple. Fun. A little bit of heat. Try to get this expanded enough that it breaks loose. Trying to point it away from all the rubber areas. All right, guys, we got it out. Oh man, that is a crusty hole right there. And it was well seized. So we're gonna take that off, clean it up, and hopefully, I'm sure it'll be 1,000 times better. So I'm pretty excited about it. So she's climbing up in there. We're gonna unhook the power steering rack from the steering rack, or steering column, that's the word. And we didn't feel like lowering the vehicle, so. All right guys, she's out. Oh my God, that was a struggle. We had to loosen this shifter cable here, slide it like all the way out as far as it could, and then that would allow us to drop it out down there. So we also had to struggle to get it out of that hole, but we did it. We got it out. Just a little, oh, we had to take the exhaust off because we couldn't swing it down, put the exhaust in the way, but that wasn't too bad. None of it was rusted, so that badly. It was a little rusty, but not bad. So yeah, now we just gotta do the reverse. All right, we've got everything wrapped up except for the tie rod ends. And then so what we're gonna do is measure the length of this old rack and try to get it pretty close to the same. All right, she's all wrapped up, got tie rods on, the wheels on. We measured everything to try to get the alignment just good enough that it doesn't wear out the tires immediately, and then I'll go take it to get an alignment after. And then, yeah, now we're gonna lower it down and do the power steering fluid. All right, I filled the power steering fluid, but that's fine because I'm sure it's like empty. So she's gonna start it up and we'll see what happens. Oh yeah. Sucked it down immediately. Let me get some more in there. It's empty. Wow. It's very bubbly. Ooh. I can hear it making noises. I can definitely empty this whole bottle in there, I'm pretty sure. But hey, it's working, seems like. Let's see if there's any leak on the floor. Anything on the floor? Nope, no drippies. That's good. Yay! It's working. I'm happy. All right, it seems to be full now, enough. Takes a whole bottle. And we're gonna go take it for a drive, get something to eat, and then we'll see how it does afterwards. Well, this project turned out to be a success. The power steering works perfectly. And even though I ran the power steering pump, you know, without fluid for like a year, it still works perfectly fine. So I'm pretty excited about it. Next up on this video, we're gonna work on the red Civic and replace the exhaust manifold, put the catalytic converter back on, put the O2 sensor, hook that back up. So I have two O2 sensors and no check engine light, but I'm not doing that tonight. It's too late. So I'll see you guys in the morning. All right, guys, I lied. It's not the morning. It's actually night. I didn't feel like working on it in the morning. So here we are. We're gonna work on it tonight. I'm gonna lift this up and we're gonna work on getting the lower part of the exhaust unhooked, and then we'll lower it back down and get the top exhaust taken off, and then we'll put on the stock exhaust again. So one issue I've been having is the exhaust has been like super vibraty and annoying, and I think I know why. As you can see there, there's no flex at all in the exhaust right there. So that's the reason why it's been so vibraty and annoying sounding. So if I can take this exhaust off, put the stock stuff back on, then we'll be good to go. Let's just grab the new pipe that I bought. I bought a new pipe that goes down here. And we'll see if it actually is the right length and everything. I don't want to take it all apart and then turns out it's totally the wrong length. That would be really sad. All right, guys, I've got the new pipe here and it definitely looks literally perfect. Just wanted to make sure. And the reason why I'm changing this lower collector is because, as you can see, there's two outlets on this exhaust manifold, and this one only has the one outlet. Ooh, it's backlit, one outlet there. So, and that's what my stock exhaust manifold over there is. So, all right, guys, we've got the bolts out, and we've got the O2 sensor out as well, which wasn't even tight at all. So, I'm glad we took it out. All right, guys, time to lower it down. We got it down mostly to the ground. It's still up on the lift, just low enough that I can easily access the engine bay. Let's go ahead and open up the hood here. And let's get started pulling off those exhaust bolts there, and then we can drop this exhaust out. All right, guys, I had to fish the original O2 sensor around quite a bit, but I got it. It was sticking back down where you saw it before. And then I've got the exhaust manifold, the original one. There is a small crack right here, but I don't think it'll cause any kind of issue. And then eventually I could weld that back or braze it back or whatever I need to do. This O2 sensor is going to stay in there because look at it, it's like quite rounded, but it is the original O2 sensor. So hopefully, fingers crossed, those O2 sensors are good, and that makes the check engine light go away. Plus, and the big reason why I want the check engine light to go away, one, because it's annoying. Two, I get my shift light, which is going to be cool. I'm excited to try that. I'll see what that's like, show it to you guys, because basically this is a fuel mileage car, right? So it's supposed to tell you when to shift to get the best possible gas mileage, and it kind of makes it like a game, which is fun, and I like that. So kind of gamifies the gas mileage, if you know what I mean. So I'm going to go ahead and get this set back in there, get the bolts tightened on there, and then put the O2 sensor back in with a little bit of anti-seize just to make sure it doesn't get stuck in there if I ever have to replace it. I don't want this to happen, which that's going to be fun to get out eventually, but we'll get to that if we ever need to. And then we'll lift it back up, and then we'll work on putting the bottom all back together. All right, she's all back together, and at least up top, and we're going to lift it up, and we're going to hook up the rest of the bottom stuff. Yeah. All right, guys, I found 3 compatible nuts, and then I've got the gaskets that we need, as well as little spring bolts. I bought those. I forget what you exactly call these. Something. Here's the model number for that, if you need it. And here's that for this. And here's that for this. So let's get all this put onto that and bolt it up. All right, guys, we got that nice and tight. Put anti-seize on all 3 of those bolts in case I have to take it apart again. And then now next thing we gotta do is put those on. Unfortunately, I don't know what goes here, and there's also a hole right there. I'd like to put that back on to stock, so that way it supports the exhaust manifold, because it already is slightly cracked and I don't want to make it worse. But just let me know in the comments below if you know what those brackets are, and I'll see if I can get them. All right, guys, it's all done. These are on, ready to go, tightened down, nice and tight. All those are bolts back in. All the O2 sensors are back in. So I guess moment of truth is to drop it down, see how it sounds, as well as see if there's a check engine light. All right, guys, it's the moment of truth. I've got it back on the ground. I'm obviously inside of it here, and let's go ahead and see if she starts up and sounds better, as well as see if that check engine light goes away. Okay, the check engine light is still there for now. It may just need to be cleared because this is the first time it's started up. Okay, let's see how it sounds at rev. Oh my God, it revs so much better. So much quieter. There's no rattle going on. Where when I did this before, it just rattled like crazy. So let's go ahead and whip out the code reader, see if we can clear those codes, and fingers crossed. All right, guys, I got the X tool plugged in, key on. Let's go ahead and hit diagnostic, and you got to make sure to press Asia up there, and let's hit Honda. It's going to connect. It's authenticating. We're going to say it's a 16-pin connector, and it is a USA version, because this isn't JDM, as cool as that would be. It's going to communicate theoretically. Okay, and then we're going to go to automatic scan. All system scan. I don't think there's that much. Scanning. I don't think there's that many systems in this car. Oh, there's that one. There's at least one engine code. We'll see what it's about. Hopefully it's the O2 sensor and I can just clear it. All right, it took a minute to scan, but as you can see, looks like we only have two things in the car. We got the airbags, which looks good, and then we got the engine. Let's tap on the engine code and view what that looks like. Very curious. We're going to read the DTC. All right. Oh, yep. Here we go. Heater circuit malfunction. It says current, so that's not too good, but that may mean we have a bad O2 sensor. Very possible. So what we'll do is just clear it just in case. Oh, I should have just cleared it right there. Whoopsie. But I can do it right here. Clear all DTCs. So it's going to clear that code, and I'll go driving around a little and we'll see if it stays off. Oh, look, it's not there anymore. The first time that light's been off in like, I don't even know. So at least since I got the car, so pretty exciting. Let's go take it for a drive. All right, guys, we're driving down the road. Unfortunately, the check engine light did come back on, so that was a bust, but it does sound so much better, especially when accelerating. It's so much less buzzy and annoying. Everything works so much better. Even feels like it has a little bit more power. I don't know how. Maybe it's just because I'm not hearing the bzzz when I'm driving down the road from the exhaust rattling and all that. So that means we're gonna have to order a new O2 sensor, and then we can put it in, and fingers crossed that'll actually resolve our issue. So yes, unfortunately. So this video continues. I'll see you guys once I have the O2 sensor. All right, guys, we're back after a couple days have passed. I ordered the parts that I needed, the O2 sensor, and we're gonna go ahead and pull the car in the shop and get started on swapping this O2 sensor out so we can get rid of this stupid check engine light once and for all. It does turn out the downstream sensor was the problem, and luckily enough, that is actually the one that is only, I think, 4 wires instead of 5, because it's not a wideband. And the wideband, I looked it up, is like $400. So I'm really happy that was not the one. I could put it up on the lift, but I'm gonna go ahead and just work on it right here. I'm just gonna jack it up, put it on a jack stand, and then that way I have enough room to get up under there and get it off. It seems pretty accessible, so I may not even have to put it on jack stands. We'll see, fingers crossed. Now this should be the new O2 sensor. It's a Denso brand O2 sensor, 2344065. Hopefully this is the right one. From what I found on the internet, this does seem to be the correct one, and it is the same OEM one, which is really nice. It should have the same plug. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and plug it in just real quick, just to make sure that the plug actually works. No use pulling everything apart if it's the wrong plug, right? So let me go ahead and do that real quick. We'll see if it works. All right, looks like it does fit perfectly. And I had to wait to pick up a new tool, a O2 sensor socket. I've never actually had one of these, and I've always got it off the hard way. And I was like, you know what, let's just do it the easy way, because, you know, I'm tired of struggling. Also, I went ahead and picked this up. This is something totally separate, but it would have really came in handy when we were working on the suspension on this car, replacing the inner tie rods. This is an inner tie rod removal tool. Basically, you clamp it around the inner tie rod because there's not really an easy way to grab onto those, and then you can easily use like an extension and socket to pop it off, or ratchet, I mean to say, and it pops it off really easy. So anytime we need to do suspension or tie rod work, this is going to be super handy, and I just had to have it when I saw that it existed. And if you don't know about it, if I don't know about it, it's somewhat likely that you don't, so definitely pick one of those up. It was only like less than $10, so it was totally worth buying. And let's go ahead and get up under there, get this new tool on, and see if we can get this stupid old O2 sensor off the car. That was an absolute pain in my neck to get off of there. I had to actually break off the O2 sensor, put a big socket on there, and use an extendo ratchet with that because it was super rusted on there. Couldn't use this because I couldn't get it up on there and get enough leverage. So just FYI, don't hesitate to just break off the O2 sensor if it doesn't work because it's not working anyways. And now I've got it out and I can put my brand new O2 sensor in the car with no problem. All right, let's go ahead and get it installed. I am going to use this to tighten it down though, because it shouldn't be so hard. Let me go ahead and get this screwed in. All right, she's installed. You can see the line right there. It's kind of hard to see, but it is hooked up, ready to go. Let's go ahead and get in the car, clear the code first, and then we'll start it up and see if that code goes away or stays. Fingers crossed it goes away. All right, guys, sigh of relief. The car is now check engine light free. Oh my gosh, look at that. Isn't it beautiful not to see any lit up things on the dash other than what I want to be lit up, like say the brake light when I pull the e-brake. It's so nice. I'm so very pleased. And it gave me a scare for a little bit there. Unfortunately, when I first hooked up the sensor and I cleared the code and all that jazz, everything seemed to be good to go. But when I cleared it, I started the car again. The check engine light came back like as if it was having problems or whatever. So I was like, dang it, this is a brand new sensor. What the heck? Why is it still on? Well, so then I ended up unplugging the sensor, checking to make sure it got power. It's getting power. All the wiring seemed okay. The heater circuit in the sensor was ohming out correctly, so I knew that was working properly. So I was like, what the heck is going on? Well, I just plugged the sensor back in, came in here, cleared the code again, started the car, and boom, no check engine light. So super big sigh of relief. Ugh, so happy. And I can end this video on a great note. So I really appreciate all you guys for watching. If you haven't already, subscribe and like the video if you can. It helps the algorithms. You know, definitely I'd love to make this something I could do for a living, but if not, that's fine too. I just like to share what I'm doing with you guys so you can enjoy seeing progress on my channel, and I hope I can continue doing that for you guys in the future. I'll see you guys next time on Too Many Projects Garage.